Chapter 1. The first sign everything was wrong came on a rainy Thursday afternoon, slotted between back-to-back Zoom meetings and an accounting check-in. I saw the subject line: Final vendor confirmations for Mr. Calvin's 60th, confidential, pop up in my inbox, and for a moment I thought it was just another business proposal accidentally CC'd to me. I opened it, skimming over the attached PDF, my mind barely half on the text. But then I saw the names. Dad's business colleagues from Ontario, Uncle Joe, my cousin Lisa on Dad's side, even cousin Mark who lives in France and misses most Christmases. Mom was nowhere in sight, but what made my heart thud sickeningly was my own absence. Every distant relative, business associate, and friend of Dad's was named, along with meal choices and seating charts. There were notes about speeches and plans, Aunt Liz's signature bullet lists and color-coded details. But nowhere, not once, was I listed. The cursor blinked at me, indifferent. For a minute I thought it was a mistake, a page missing. My mind replayed the last spat with Dad, about how he'd strong-armed me out of a merger I'd advocated for at the family business. My fingers twitched, hovering over the keyboard, but I closed my laptop instead. The ache in my chest grew more pointed, a sharp, familiar betrayal. I wandered into the kitchen for a glass of water, needing movement. The city rain pressed against the window, streaking the glass with thousands of silver rivulets. That night the house felt too large, the silence filled with the soft squall outside. I tried to focus on the comforting rhythms, the distant hum of traffic, the warmth of my slippers on cold tile. I could hear Mom's voice in my head, gentle, practical, soothing. I decided to call her under the pretense of catching up. She answered on the second ring, sounding a little out of breath. "Emma, darling, how's my favorite daughter tonight?" I smiled despite the unease. "I don't know, Mom, I haven't asked your other three yet." She laughed, soft and real. "Busy day, yours." Oh, the usual, dodging your Aunt Liz's to-do lists and trying not to burn dinner. Why, what's up? I hesitated. I heard there might be some, upcoming celebrations, Dad's big 6-0 and all. There was a pause. I could almost see her frowning. "What do you mean, celebrations? We hadn't planned anything more than dinner, and you know how your father feels about fuss." That didn't sound right. The party described in the email was a black tie affair at a vineyard with a live band, a far cry from Dad's typical steak dinner. "I just meant, if anything comes up, let me know how I can help," I said, forcing lightness. "Wouldn't want to miss anything important." Mom chuckled. "You're a gem. Don't worry, if your father decides on more than a barbecue, you'll be the first to know. Now, tell me, did you ever try that recipe I sent you for sweet potato gnocchi? You know how he..." I let my mind drift as she talked, the ache in my gut growing colder. After we hung up, I read the email 3 more times, searching for logic, any excuse. But it was clear. This wasn't a logistical slip. Not with the emails coming from Aunt Liz and copied to Dad's personal assistant. My phone buzzed. A text from Uncle Joe, the only family member who never judged me for being ambitious or for butting heads with Dad. Maybe he'd know. Maybe he'd smile it all away. "Hey, Em, just checking in. How's the empire building this week?" I stared at it for a long moment before replying. Maybe I would ask him. Not tonight, but soon. The thought comforted me as I closed my computer, the ghost of Aunt Liz's organized lists still burning in my mind. Darkness fell quiet and thick. My blue eyes stung as I tried to focus on the ceiling. Did Dad know? Was it easier for him to let Aunt Liz plan, unburdened by routine family squabbles? Did he even care that I'd be missing from a milestone celebration of his life? Or had my battles with him finally written me out of our family story? The next morning the rain cleared, but nothing had changed. The question burned at me as I got dressed, ran my meetings, smiled through calls. Through everything I heard Aunt Liz's voice, sharp and brisk, echoing in my mind. "Let's keep it to just the people who'll keep things simple, for your father's sake." After lunch, I slipped into the habit of research. I like to be prepared. I found the vineyard's website from the email attachment, scanning its gallery of sun-drenched rows, linen-covered tables, and champagne-drenched speeches, perfect for a party I wasn't wanted at. I scrolled through their list of team members, phone numbers, and even spotted a For Business Inquiries tab. I made a quick note. That night, as I sat by my window, watching the traffic play with taillights in the dusk, I couldn't shake the image. Dad surrounded by people who had no idea who he really was, toasting to 60 years of his life, while his own daughter had been erased. I closed my eyes, anger simmering under the surface. Maybe it was Aunt Liz's need for drama-free planning. Maybe Dad simply preferred distance. But I'd built my success by refusing to be sidelined, by making bold moves when the world wrote me off. I stood to stretch and laughed bitterly to myself. If Aunt Liz wanted to exclude me, maybe it was time I reminded her exactly who she was dealing with. Quiet confidence. Mom had always said that was my greatest strength. But as I stared at my reflection, blue eyes burning, I realized, maybe now wasn't the time to be quiet. And just like that, a plan began to form. The rain tapped on my window. I sat on my bed with my laptop open, trying to focus on work. My eyes got heavy. I wanted to finish my emails, but something popped up. It was new. The subject line was strange. It said, "Final vendor confirmations for Mr. Calvin's 60th, confidential." My heart skipped. My dad was Mr. Calvin. I frowned. This email was not for me. I clicked it anyway. There was a big guest list. It had a lot of people's names. Aunt Liz, Uncle Joe, Cousin Lisa, even people from Dad's business. My throat felt tight as I scanned the list again and again. My name wasn't there, not even once. I felt a lump in my stomach. Was this on purpose? Did they forget me? Or did they not want me there? I remembered the fight with Dad last month. We had argued about the family business. Dad had said, "You don't understand how tough this is." I had said, "Let me help, Dad. I have ideas too." After that, we barely talked. I sat very still. The rain got louder. I did not want to cry, but I could feel tears pressing in my eyes. My hand shook a little. I closed my laptop. I needed to hear Mom's voice. She could always make me feel better. I grabbed my phone and called her. She answered right away. She sounded warm. "Hi, Emma, how's my girl?" she said. "Hey, Mom, I'm okay," I said, but my voice was tiny. "What's wrong?" Mom asked right away. "You sound sad." I tried to sound normal. Are we doing anything for Dad's birthday?" I asked. Mom was quiet. "Not that I know of," she said. "Maybe we'll have dinner or something simple. Your dad doesn't like big parties." I bit my lip. That could not be true. The email said there would be a big party. "No one said anything about a party, not even Aunt Liz," I said. Mom laughed a little. "Aunt Liz is always talking about parties, but not for your dad. She would have told me. Why?" I shook my head, even though she could not see me. "Just wondering," I said. I tried to keep my voice light, but it felt fake. There was a pause. "Emma, are you sure you're okay?" Mom asked. "I'm fine," I lied. "Just tired, long day, that's all." "If you want to talk, call me okay," Mom said. "I will, Mom," I said. I wanted to tell her about the email, but something held me back. I said goodbye and hung up. After the call, my hands were cold. I felt mixed up inside. Why would Aunt Liz do this? Maybe she just forgot me. Maybe Dad told her not to invite me. I wished I knew. I walked around my room. I looked at myself in the mirror. My blue eyes looked sad, not bright. I wanted to scream. I wanted to call Aunt Liz and shout, "Why wasn't I invited?" But the words stuck in my throat. Then I thought of Uncle Joe. He always told silly jokes and wore shirts with flamingos. He was the only one who understood me at family dinners. I decided to text him. I typed, "Hey, Uncle Joe, hope you're good. Can I ask you something?" He replied fast, "Of course, Em, what's cooking?" I didn't know how to say it. Finally, I wrote, "Did you hear about Dad's birthday party? I saw some stuff by mistake, I think." He texted back, "Oh, that. Yeah, Liz is going all out. She booked some fancy vineyard, should be a blast." My heart raced. I texted, "Am I invited?" I regret hitting send, but I couldn't take it back. A long time passed before he replied. "Honestly, Liz said you were not on the list. She said you'd make the party about yourself. Sorry, kiddo, I don't agree." His words hurt. Tears stung my eyes now. I breathed out slowly. "Wow," I typed. Thanks for telling me. He sent another message. Emma, don't let her get to you. We both know you work harder than all of us. I wrote, thanks, Uncle Joe. It was still raining outside, but I wasn't sad anymore. I felt angry now. My chest burned. Why would Aunt Liz do this? Why did Dad stop it? Did he even know, or did he just not care? I opened my laptop again. I found an email about the vineyard. I looked at the website. It was very fancy. There were pictures of people laughing, drinking, celebrating under big oak trees. I had an idea. It was wild and maybe not nice. I stared at the screen. Should I do this? I whispered out loud. I didn't have the answer, but I knew I was not going to let them cut me out. Not this time. I closed the laptop again, but this time I smiled a little. My plan was just getting started. Would it work? I didn't know yet, but I wanted to find out. My heart thumped as I thought of what I might do next. I was walking by Dad's office when I heard voices. The door wasn't all the way closed. Dad's voice was easy to hear. He was laughing. That vineyard is perfect, Liz, he said. Exclusive, just for the important people in my life. You really thought of everything. Aunt Liz was with him. I peeked in and saw her waving papers. It will be a night to remember, she said. Only the best for you and your friends. My heart felt squeezed. Important people, he said. Did he ever think I wanted to be important? Did he know I wasn't invited, or did he just not care? I hurried away and out to my car. As soon as I shut the door, I couldn't hold it inside anymore. I started crying. My shoulders shook and tears kept coming. I put my head on the steering wheel and remembered Dad missing my graduation and all those dinners where he spent more time on his phone than talking to me. It felt like I'd never really been part of his world. My own dad, laughing about a party I wasn't even asked to. I wiped my face with my sleeve and tried to breathe. Stop it, I whispered. Don't let them do this to you. My phone buzzed in my hand. I saw Uncle Joe's name. I remembered he was on my side always. I pressed call. When he answered, his voice was so warm. Hey, Em, something up. I wanted to sound normal, but my voice cracked. Uncle Joe, is there really a party for Dad's birthday? Did you know I'm not invited? He sighed. Emma, I'm sorry. I didn't want to be the one to tell you. I pressed him. But why? Did Dad say I couldn't come? No, honey, he said. It's your Aunt Liz. She told everyone you just make the event about yourself. That's not true, but she convinced your dad. I tried, but she's running everything. His words made me shake. So it's not a mistake, I said softly. It's not an accident. He said, no, I think Liz wanted less drama. She thinks you still blame everyone for that business stuff last month. I sniffed loudly. That's not fair. I just wanted to be part of the family, Joe. I don't even care about speeches and dancing. I just wanted to show up. He said gently, I know, Em. Believe me, I know. If it helps, the party is at a vineyard outside the city. Real fancy. Liz chose it. It's, for lack of a better word, over the top. I sat up straighter. What's the vineyard called? He didn't sound suspicious. It's called Silver Acres. Nice place. The owner is pretty private. You have to book far in advance. Liz put a deposit already. She wants everything just so. He chuckled a little. Classic Liz, right? I nodded even though he couldn't see me. Have you ever been there? I asked. Once, wine tasting for your dad's company. It's beautiful but almost too pretty, you know. All those rich people posing for pictures. I'd rather have a backyard barbecue, he said. I laughed a little, but inside I was making notes. Thanks, Uncle Joe. I just needed someone to tell me the truth. He said, you got it, Em. Are you okay? You sound tired. I forced my voice steady. I'm okay. Really, I just wish things were different. Uncle Joe's tone got soft. Hey, let me know if you need anything, or just want a vent. I can sneak you in a bottle of wine if you want. Maybe crash the party. He tried to joke, but I could hear how sad he was for me. I didn't tell him, but a new idea was poking at my mind. I'll keep that in mind. Thanks. We hung up and I sat in my car for a long time. Dad wanted only important people. Aunt Liz thought I would cause drama. I pressed the car keys between my fingers, thinking about the vineyard, about Dad smiling at his party, not even noticing I was missing. A dangerous thought came to me. What if I could change everything without asking to be invited? What if I could do something bold, something nobody would see coming? I liked how that idea felt. I wiped my eyes and looked at my reflection in the rearview mirror. My cheeks were red and my eyes tired, but there was fire in them. I started the car, but before I drove home, I picked up my phone and started searching who owned Silver Acres. Maybe there was more than one way to be important. Maybe there was a way to show Dad and Aunt Liz that I could decide who gets invited. As I scrolled, my heart kept racing. I didn't know what would happen next, but I was sure of one thing: I wasn't going to just disappear. Something big was going to happen. And this time, everyone would see me. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at my phone. I wondered if this was a crazy idea. I wondered if it was wrong. Last night, I couldn't sleep at all. I kept thinking about Dad's voice calling other people important. I kept hearing Uncle Joe's sad tone. I felt small and angry and tired. I called my friend Leela. She answered right away. "Emma, what's up?" she said. I sounded serious. "Leela, do you know anybody who works at Silver Acres Vineyard?" She was quiet for a second. "That's fancy. Why?" I sighed. "My aunt is planning a party there. It's important. I have a reason. Do you know anyone?" She said, "Actually, my cousin's boyfriend works in their office. I can ask and send you the info." I felt hope climbing inside my heart. "Yes, please," I said. "And could you make it fast?" She laughed. "Someone's in a hurry. I'll text him now." I waited, fiddling with my pen. I thought about what I wanted. I wanted to be noticed. I wanted to show Dad and Aunt Liz I mattered. Leela sent me a number and a name. "Ask for Mr. Harris," she texted. I called right away. The man answered. "Silver Acres, this is Mr. Harris," he said. I tried to sound confident. "Hello, Mr. Harris. My name is Emma Calvin. I want to talk about the vineyard. I heard there may be some changes going on." He sounded tired. "What kind of changes?" I said, "Is it true the vineyard for sale?" My heart beat so hard I was scared he might hear it. He gave a sad laugh. "Honestly, yes, the owners want to sell as soon as possible. We're in some trouble. Know someone interested?" I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. "Yes, I'm interested. I run a small business and I have some money. Can I meet the owner?" He sounded surprised. You're so young." I tried to smile. "I work hard. Please just give me a chance." He said, "All right, the owner is here right now. How soon can you come?" I said, "I can come in an hour." An hour later, I found myself at Silver Acres. The owner met me at the office. She was a tired-looking woman with kind eyes. She shook my hand. "Are you sure you want this place, Emma?" she asked. I said, "Yes. Can I afford it if I get a loan?" My words came out in a rush. She looked at me for a long moment. "You look like you need a win," she said. "If you can get me the money quick, we can work it out." I smiled. "Thank you, I'll talk to my business partner. I'll get the loan, I promise." We talked numbers. I asked a lot of questions, even though my head spun. I tried to look professional, the way Dad always told me to act. When I got home, I called my business partner, Chris. I told him everything, except the real reason why I wanted the vineyard. "Emma, are you sure?" he said. "This is risky." I said, "I know, but I can do it. I'll pay you back." He thought for a minute. "Okay, I trust you. Let's go for it." After the call, I sat on my bed. My heart thumped so loud I thought it would burst. Was I really going to buy a fancy vineyard just to show my family they couldn't push me out? Was this a mistake? I talked to myself out loud. Is this just revenge, I asked, or is it about being seen? I thought of Dad not knowing I was missing from his party. I thought of Aunt Liz acting like I was just trouble. I wanted to scream. I wanted to laugh. I felt proud and scared and a little bit silly. I gripped my phone tight. I whispered, "I'm doing this. I can't quit now." That night, I lay in bed and watched the shadows on my ceiling. I dreamed about parties and loud voices and people listening to me for once. I wondered what Mom would think if she knew. I wondered if Dad would even care. When I finally drifted off to sleep, My mind was racing with 100 questions. What if I got the vineyard and it all went wrong? What if Aunt Liz found out? What if Dad just got madder at me? The next morning, I woke up early. I checked my email 100 times. What if the owner changed her mind? What if someone offered more money? While I waited, I stared at the mirror. I looked scared, but also stronger. Maybe this was my biggest, boldest idea ever. Suddenly my phone buzzed. I jumped. It was an email from Mr. Harris. My hand shook as I opened it. I started to read. My heart sped up. Was it good news or bad? Was my plan going to work, or was I about to lose everything? I held my breath, wondering what would happen next. I was staring at my email when my phone rang. My hands were cold. I looked at the number. It was Mr. Harris from the vineyard. I grabbed the phone. "Hello," I said. My voice shook a little. "Hi, Emma, this is Mr. Harris," he said. "I have some news about Silver Acres." My heart beat fast. "Did something happen?" I asked. He said, "We got another offer today." His voice sounded nervous. "Another offer? Who?" I asked. My chest felt tight. He said, "A woman named Liz Richards. She made a deposit for a big private party and said she might want to make a deal." Aunt Liz, of course it was her. I bit my lip. I tried to sound calm. "Is her offer bigger than mine?" I asked. He said, "No, not yet, but she's serious. Are you still interested?" I nodded, even though he couldn't see. "I want the vineyard," I said. "I'll make a better offer today. Please don't give it to anyone else." He said, "If you can send your offer by the end of the day, I promise I'll talk to the owner. I like you, Emma, but this is business." I thanked him and hung up. I felt scared. What if Aunt Liz beat me? What if everything I'd done was for nothing? My hands shook as I called Chris, my business partner. "Chris, it's me," I said. "Aunt Liz is trying to get the vineyard. I have to go higher." He said, "Emma, are you sure? This is going to cost a lot." I said, "Yes, I'm sure. I have to do it. Please help me send the new offer." He paused, then said, "All right, I'll do it. I believe in you." We worked for hours. We checked all the money. We made the offer much higher. I could feel how risky this was. I felt like I was going to throw up, but I didn't stop. Chris said, "Are you sure you really want this, Emma?" I said, "I need this, Chris. I need to show them who I am." He said, "Then let's do it." I sent the new offer. All I could do was wait. My whole body wanted to run and scream at the same time. At dinner, I didn't eat much. My phone buzzed right as I was about to go to bed. I jumped up and looked. It was an email from Mr. Harris. The subject made my breath stop. Contract attached. I opened it with shaking hands. The owner had picked my offer. I had done it. I stared at the words. I was now the owner of the vineyard. It did not feel real at first. I smiled and then I cried. I didn't know if I was happy, scared, or just tired. Suddenly, another text popped up. "Dad, let's get coffee together sometime next month. Let me know when you're free." He sounded busy. He always sounded busy. I felt anger and sadness twist inside me. He wanted coffee later, like I was just another meeting on his calendar. He still had no idea I'd almost lost everything just to be in his world. I texted back, "Sure, Dad, let me know." But really, I wanted to scream. Why didn't he want to see me, really see me? Did he care about me at all? Or just the perfect mask he showed to his friends? A knock sounded at my door. For a split second, I panicked. Was it someone from the vineyard? Chris? But no, it was just some delivery guy with legal papers. I signed and took the thick folder. My name was stamped above, Emma Calvin, owner. It was true. I had done something wild. I had done something big. I walked to my window and looked into the night. It was so dark outside, but I felt a spark inside me. For once, I was in control. I didn't know what Dad would think when he found out. I didn't know what Aunt Liz would do. I almost laughed, thinking of her face when she learned she couldn't throw her party at her fancy vineyard. I hugged the folder to my chest. I whispered, "They'll have to see me now." But then fear crept in. What if they got mad? What if Dad never talked to me again? My phone buzzed again. It was a message from Aunt Liz. "Important. Can you meet me at your office tomorrow? don't ignore me." I read it and my hands turned cold. What did she know? What was she going to do? I set my folder on the table and listened to my heart pound. Tomorrow, everything could change. I was sitting at my desk trying to work when I heard loud footsteps in the hall. My door swung open. Aunt Liz walked in, her eyes flashing. She did not even say hello. She threw a piece of paper on my desk. "What is this?" she shouted. I picked it up. It was an email from Silver Acres. It talked about a new owner and new rules for events. I acted surprised. "I don't know," I said. "Did something change at the vineyard?" She glared at me. "Don't play games, Emma," she said. "Did you have anything to do with this?" Her cheeks turned red. I shook my head. "Why would I have anything to do with your party?" I said. My voice sounded calm, but my heart was pounding. Aunt Liz started packing. She waved her hands in the air. "You always have to be involved. I tried to give your father a nice day without your drama. Just one day." I swallowed hard. "My drama?" I asked. I tried not to show how much her words hurt. All I ever wanted was to be there. Was it so wrong? She pointed at me. "You can never just let things go. You ruin every plan. You make everything about you." I felt my eyes sting, but I would not let her see me cry. "I'm not the one who left someone off the list," I said. She rolled her eyes. "This is exactly why I didn't invite you. You're always difficult, always looking for attention." I clenched my fists under the desk. "I am not doing this for attention," I said. "I just don't want to be invisible anymore." She leaned closer and hissed, "You will regret this, Emma. You're playing with adults now." She turned on her heel and stormed out, slamming the door. For a moment, the room was so quiet. I sat there, shaking. Her words echoed in my head. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was making everything worse. I put my head in my hands and tried to breathe. But then I remembered how it felt to see my name missing from the guest list. I remembered every time my ideas were ignored at family dinners. I straightened up. "No," I thought, "I am not sorry." My computer pinged. It was a message from Silver Acres. "Please confirm. Should we cancel all vendor bookings for the Richards party?" I read the words out loud, whispering. I typed back, "Yes, cancel everything." I hit send. My hands trembled, but I felt strong too. I was finally making my own choices. Aunt Liz sent another email right away. Her words were mean. "You're making a huge mistake. You are going to embarrass the whole family." I did not answer. I stared at her words and felt a mix of sadness and anger. Why did it have to be this way? Why couldn't we be a real family, just once? Suddenly my phone buzzed. It was Mom calling. I held my breath and answered. "Hi, Mom," I said. She sounded nervous. "Emma, is Aunt Liz upset? She just called, yelling about something. Did you two fight?" My hands were shaking. I almost told her everything. Instead, I said, "She's just mad about a change in plans. It's not your fault." Mom sighed. "I wish everyone would just talk to each other. I hate all this fighting. Are you okay?" I swallowed. "I will be," I said, but I wasn't sure it was true. After we said goodbye, I looked out the window. The sky was gray. My phone kept buzzing with messages from Aunt Liz and other people I didn't know. They all wanted answers. I stared at the wall and wondered if I was brave or just foolish. Would Dad find out what I did? Would he forgive me? Would anyone? I shut my laptop and leaned back in my chair. The house was so quiet, I could hear my own heartbeat. In that silence, I knew there was no turning back. Tomorrow was the party, and nobody knew what was really going to happen. The sun was bright, but I felt cold inside. I parked my car on the hill where I could see the vineyard. My hands felt sweaty. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I watched fancy cars pull up to the gates. Guests in colorful dresses and shiny suits got out and looked around, holding gifts and balloons. I saw Aunt Liz right away. She wore a bright green dress and looked busy on her phone. Her face was red and angry. She kept waving her arms and talking to different people. I wished I could hear what she was saying. More people came. They tried to go in, but the big black gates were closed. Some people looked confused. Others looked mad. A few stood close together and whispered. The vineyard staff walked around, shaking their heads and telling everyone they couldn't let them inside. I stared through my car window, heart in my throat. My plan was working, but I felt weird. Was this right? Did I go too far? I tried to breathe slowly. Then a car pulled up that made my heart stop. It was Dad's silver Lexus. He stepped out, looking tall and serious as always. Mom was with him. She looked worried, her eyes darting everywhere. Dad walked up to the gate. He spoke to Aunt Liz, who started waving her hands even more. Her voice sounded sharp even though I couldn't make out the words. I watched Dad's face. When he realized the party was canceled, he looked surprised, then really sad. I saw him look at Mom. She shook her head and put her hand on his arm. I wanted to run to him and say sorry. Part of me felt happy I finally made them notice me. Part of me felt like crying. I watched the guests. Some were fanning themselves, getting angry in the hot sun. A few got in their cars and left. Aunt Liz kept dialing her phone, shouting into it, but no one seemed to help. Dad just stood there, still and silent, as people buzzed around him. I looked at myself in the mirror, my mouth trembled. "You can do this," I whispered. I put on my red lipstick like a shield and smoothed my dress. I grabbed the new keys out of my purse. My hand was shaking. I got out of my car. My heels clicked on the gravel as I walked down the hill. Every step, my heart felt bigger and bigger, pounding so hard I thought everyone could hear it. Aunt Liz spotted me first. She pointed and her mouth fell open. "What are you doing here?" she called. Her voice sounded scared. Guests turned when she shouted. Whispering started. "That's Emma," I heard someone say. "Isn't she the daughter?" I took a deep breath and kept going. Everyone watched me come right up to the locked gates. I stopped, held up the keys, and unlocked the gates myself. I said loudly, so everyone could hear, "The new owner is here. I believe you were trying to have a party without me." The crowd gasped. Some people laughed. Dad's eyes grew wide. "Emma, what's going on?" he said, walking toward me. I tried to stay calm, even though I was shaking inside. "I bought the vineyard," I said. "Surprise, Dad." Aunt Liz stomped forward. "This is a joke. Give me those keys, Emma," she said, reaching for them. I stepped back. "Not a joke. The party can't start without the owner, can it?" Gasps and whispers rushed through the guests. Dad stared at me, his eyebrows pulled together. "Emma, what are you talking about? Why are you doing this?" I looked right at him. "I wanted to be here for your birthday, Dad. I just had to buy a vineyard to get invited." Aunt Liz tried to cut me off. "This is nonsense. You just want attention." I reached into my purse and pulled out a paper with the guest list. I held it up for everyone to see. "Did you really approve this list, Dad? Did you know your own daughter wasn't invited?" The air felt heavy. People stopped moving. Dad looked confused, then he looked at Aunt Liz. "Liz, is this true?" he said slowly. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I waited, hoping Dad would finally see the truth. He opened his mouth to speak, but suddenly Mom rushed forward, grabbing his arm. "Let's talk about this, all of us," she said, her voice shaking. Everyone was watching us now. I felt my whole body trembling. What would Dad say? Would he yell at me? Would he finally listen? Would the family fall apart right here in front of everyone? Before anyone could speak, Uncle Joe stepped out of the crowd and said, "Maybe you should hear her out first, Calvin." Everyone went quiet again, hanging on Dad's answer. I held my breath, not sure what would happen next. Everyone stood so still, I could hear my own breath. I stared at Dad, waiting. His face looked red and angry for a moment, then sad. He said, "Emma, this isn't how families should solve things." I felt my eyes burn. "Dad, I tried to be part of the family. You didn't even notice when they left me out." Mom put her hands on Dad's arm. She looked at Aunt Liz. "Liz, why didn't you tell me you were planning the party?" she said. Aunt Liz glared. "Someone had to do it. I wanted one day with no drama. Emma always turns everything into a big fight." Uncle Joe stepped toward us. He said, "You can't just leave out family, Liz. Emma belongs here as much as anyone." Aunt Liz snapped. "This is exactly why I didn't want her. Look, she bought the whole vineyard. Who does that?" Dad shook his head. Emma, why would you do something like this? I stopped myself from shouting. Because, Dad, you never listened to me. Not at work, not at home. Aunt Liz said it was better if I stayed away. He looked at Liz. Is that true? Aunt Liz folded her arms. It's for your own good, Calvin. She causes trouble. I said, no, Aunt Liz. I wanted to be included. I wanted to share this day with you. But you sent me away like I was a problem. Mom's voice got loud. Liz, this isn't fair. You planned everything behind my back, too. You always do this, push people until they break. The guests were staring and whispering. Dad looked confused and tired. He said, Emma, you could have just talked to me. I felt angry tears in my eyes. I tried talking so many times, Dad. No one listened. I'm sorry if this is embarrassing, but I can't be invisible anymore. Not to you, not to anyone. Uncle Joe looked at me. His eyes were sad but proud. He said, sometimes you have to make a big move to get the family's attention, Calvin. Dad was quiet for a long time. He looked at the ground. Emma, I'm sorry. I really am. I should have noticed. I didn't want you to feel left out. I thought you didn't care about these things anymore. I shook my head. Of course I care. I've always cared. I just wanted to be treated like I matter. I'm your daughter. Aunt Liz rolled her eyes. Can we stop this now? People are starring. Mom took my hand. Her own hand was trembling. Honey, this should never have happened. I'm so sorry. I should have known you were hurting. I squeezed her hand back. I wanted to tell you, Mom, but I was scared you'd have to choose sides. She hugged me tightly. No more sides. This is our family, no more secrets. Dad looked up at the sky. This party is ruined now. Is that what you wanted, Emma? His words felt sharp. I bit my lip. No, Dad, I just wanted you to see me. For a second, no one spoke. The guests whispered. I felt small, but also brave. Uncle Joe stepped forward and put his hand on my shoulder. He said, Emma is not the problem here. The problem is not listening. Dad nodded slowly. Maybe you're right, Joe. Maybe I should have listened. Maybe we all should have. Aunt Liz said, well, I hope you're all happy now. No one answered her. Dad looked at me. His eyes were sad but soft. Emma, can we talk alone? My heart jumped. I nodded. Yes, I'd like that. We started to walk together toward a quiet spot behind the vineyard. I looked back. I saw Aunt Liz scowling. Mom was crying, but she looked a little relieved. Uncle Joe gave me a big thumbs up. I didn't know what Dad would say when we were alone. Would he forgive me? Would he still be angry? Would we ever be close again? I walked after him, my heart beating fast, hoping maybe this time he would finally understand. Dad and I walked away from the crowd. I felt nervous. My hands were shaking. The vineyard looked beautiful and quiet, but inside my head it was loud. He stopped by a shady tree. He didn't look at me at first. He just stared at the grass. I waited. I thought I might cry. Finally, he spoke. When did I start missing who you really are, Emma? He said. His voice was slow and a little sad. I cleared my throat. I don't know, Dad, I said. Maybe when I started working with you, maybe even before, you always seemed too busy. You always wanted things done your way. He looked at me. Was I that bad? He asked. I looked at the ground. Sometimes, yes, I said. I always tried to make you proud, but I could never do things the way you wanted. I felt invisible. Even now, you didn't even check the guest list for your own party. He sighed. My own dad was even harder on me, he said. He never said good job. He just pushed and pushed. I promised myself I'd be different, but maybe I did the same thing to you. I sniffed and wiped my eyes. It felt like that, I said. Every time I tried, it was never enough. I won awards, I worked late, I followed your rules, but I felt lonely. I never felt seen by you, Dad, not really. He shook his head. Emma, I swear it wasn't about you. I was always I thought you liked being in charge, you're strong. I didn't know I made you feel so small. Anger bubbled up in me, but also hope. I said, all I wanted was to be your daughter, Dad, not some business partner, not just a worker. I wanted you to invite me, not because I make deals, but because I'm family. He winced. That hurts, he said. You did so much for the family. I kept thinking about what looked best. I guess I forgot what mattered. I asked, did you tell Aunt Liz not to invite me? He shook his head fast. No, Emma, never. I should have talked to you. I should have fixed it, but I didn't know how. I said, she made me feel like I was the problem. He walked closer. His voice was soft. You're not the problem. I need you. The family needs you. I know now that I didn't see you clearly. I swallowed hard. Do you mean it, or are you just saying that because everyone is watching? He took a deep breath. I mean it. I mean all of it. I don't want to lose you. Let's make a new start. I want you here not just at my party, but every day. My heart felt heavy. What about all those years? Can we really fix things in one talk? He shook his head again. It's not just one talk, it's the start. I could do better. I want to. I asked, do you want to go back now? The guests are probably wondering what's happening. He looked at the sky. Only if you're with me, he said. Let's open up the gates. Let's celebrate together. No secrets. No leaving anyone out. I think we could use a fresh start. I nodded. Okay, Dad, but you need to say something in front of everyone. Tell the truth. Tell them I belong here. He put his arm around my shoulder. You have my word. You open the party, Emma. Give a toast to new beginnings. I took a deep breath. I can do that, thank you, Dad. For the first time in a long time, I felt seen. We started to walk back toward the crowd. My heart was still pounding, but I felt lighter. Would everyone really accept me now? Would Aunt Liz still fight me? Would my family finally change, or would this all fall apart again when the party ended? As we walked up to the big gates side by side, I kept thinking about what I would say and what would happen next. Dad and I walked together, step by step, back to the crowded vineyard. My hands were sweating. I could hear people talking and laughing now, but it sounded different. I whispered, "Are you ready for this?" And he nodded. "Only if you are," he said. When we pushed open the gates, everybody turned to look. Their eyes were wide. Some people looked nervous. Aunt Liz stood off to one side, arms crossed tight. Mom wiped her eyes and smiled at me. I held my breath. Dad walked to the middle of the crowd and raised his hand. "Everyone, could I have your attention?" he said. The noise faded fast. I felt so many eyes on me, it made my skin prickle. Dad kept his voice steady. "I want to thank you all for coming, even though things did not go as expected." He turned to me and then back to the guests. "There were mistakes today. Somehow my daughter Emma was left out of this celebration. That should have never happened. She is family. She belongs here more than anyone." I felt tears in my eyes, but I smiled. Some people clapped. Mom came over and squeezed my hand. Even Uncle Joe winked at me. Dad continued, "Emma has gone above and beyond for this family. For years, I was too busy to see what she needed. Today, she made sure we all noticed." Aunt Liz shouted, "Are we just supposed to forget what she did? She ruined everything." Mom answered before I could. "Liz, she didn't ruin anything. You left her out and that's the truth. You always try to control everything. It's time you stopped." Uncle Joe added, "It's about time someone spoke up. Let's enjoy the party the way it should be." I looked at Aunt Liz. Her face was red and her hands were shaking. She turned away and didn't say anything else. Dad turned to me. He said, "Emma, would you do the honors? Open your vineyard and give us a proper toast." My chest felt full. I nodded. "Yes, Dad." I took the big ring of keys out of my purse. My fingers shook as I unlocked the main doors and let everyone inside. The smell of grapes and fresh bread floated in the air. People started to smile and talk louder. The mood changed, brighter, warmer, more real. I stood by the first table and cleared my throat. "Everyone," I said, "I know today was strange, but maybe being real is better than being perfect. My family means everything to me, even when it doesn't always show. So let's make this a party we all remember, not because it was planned, but because everyone was finally invited." There was cheering and some people laughed. I looked at Mom. She had tears, but she nodded with pride. I noticed some older cousins who always ignored me coming up. One cousin, Mark, said, "Hey, Emma, I think you showed all of us how to speak up." Uncle Joe pulled me aside. He handed me a folded paper. "Just for you," he whispered. I opened it. It was the original guest list. My name was there but crossed out many times. I looked up at him. He just smiled and said, "Keep this, kid. Sometimes you need proof to remind you why you fight." "Thank you, Uncle Joe," I said. My hands were shaking. He patted my shoulder. "You crashed the party and made it better. Don't ever let anyone shut you out again." Later, while music played and people talked, Dad walked over to me. He handed me an envelope. "What's this?" I asked. He said, "Something important. Open it." I slipped out a paper. It was a deed, Dad's vacation house at the lake. I was so surprised, I almost forgot to breathe. He pressed a note in my hand. "To my daughter who had to buy a venue to be heard, next time just talk to me. I'm listening now. Love, Dad." I hugged him tight. He hugged me back. For the first time in years, I felt like his daughter, not just someone chasing his approval. As the moon came up, people laughed and danced. I watched Aunt Liz leave early, her head down. I hoped maybe she could change one day, too. I stood on the balcony, looking at my family, my new vineyard, my life. I felt strong. I felt loved. I wondered what would happen next, and if I was finally ready to step into it, no longer afraid to speak up.